funding. China hits a new milestone in space solar power. And also on China, NASA says it's very likely China will send a crew around the moon in 2027. That's not too far away. Vast is diversifying by now building satellites as well as space stations. And Russia is planning to sell advertising on their rockets and spacecraft. All that and our guest, Paul S. Mamakos. From the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. Okay, as you know, this program is brought to you by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. What do? We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space-adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor-ready. Now, a lot of our work, especially this podcast, is supported by our listeners and fans like you. So if you just go to cscf.space/support and click that point-of-day donate button, a little in the tip jar each month makes a big difference. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. And speaking of friends, my oldest space friend, Michael Lane, who either just finished the bread and wine sacrament or payday isn't until next week, is here with me. Michael, come on in.
Howdy, how's things?
Oh, okay. We both just missed a kind of a bollocks Starship launch just now.
Yeah,
you know, it is a new, as they say, it is a new launch pad and is a new booster, and so we're finding out right to the last second, literally, what things might trip it up.
Right.
And so you know what, we'll better luck tomorrow, and
right.
They're prepared for this, and a good thing.
Yeah, it's this stuff is hard. It's a little frustrating because, you want it to succeed. Everybody in the world is talking about SpaceX right now. So it's fun. It was, it gets your heart pounding a little bit faster. I saw one of our fans on the show. So Joe Pastrudo, I saw your comment just like zip past with everybody else's, so that's really fun. Hey, Sue, thanks for being here for the Space Frontier Foundation. We love those guys a lot. Ms. Veronica saw that message. See ya. Yeah.
About time, and best of luck.
Yep. Let's get into it. Tons to talk about. Paul, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. We'll get to you in about 20 minutes or so. Hopefully we don't have any mic check problems, but thanks for being here.
So here's the thing. I guess, well, it's interesting. I love Ars Technica now. I'm their new best friend because they actually put their stuff out. They don't make you subscribe, for $100 a month or something. But they think they've identified the largest total addressable market in all of human history, as they say about this thing, because SpaceX has been around, 24 years? They've been very, very, close to the vest with their finances, and now they're opening their books for the very first time. And so that also, get a lot of, got a wide eyes going on. They had a 400-page S1 filing.
Crazy.
The SEC, and so and they could actually do the IPO as soon as June 12th. So they had some good revenues last year. They're up significantly. Of course, you lost They lost a bunch of money last year due to their spending on artificial intelligence development.
Right.
They're going to get that right back
Yeah.
really quickly because they're projecting a TAM of 28.5 trillion
Trillion with a T.
with a T
capital
across
T.
its present and future offerings in space data AI services.
Right.
But only about 2 trillion of it is directly related to Starlink. And the rest of it's going to come AI through enterprise applications. And there's not a lot. There's a nice little graph here on this thing. So
yeah. I want to dig into that graph for just a second, right? So 28 trillion, you can argue whether that's crazy or real. I don't know. But between AI, XAI, that just owned Twitter, right? So there's 600 billion in digital advertising. Cool. The digital advertising number, 600 billion, or their consumer subscription, 760 billion, are the size of our whole industry.
Yep.
Right. So just that acquisition brings an entirely new amount of money into our industry.
And the enterprise applications is just slightly less than the entire U.S. economy.
Yeah, that's insane. So it is hard to credit how they got to this 28 trillion. But you know what this does, if this is true, if this is actually true and happens the way they're planning, they stop being a space company and they become an AI company.
Yep.
That's it. That SpaceX is now an AI company. Do we even need to cover them anymore?
I don't know, because
in view, right? But do we even need to cover them anymore?
Well, because these space-enabled solutions is only 370 billion. That's the lowest thing on the scale. Right. That's all their launch.
Right.
That's Starship.
Do you? We don't cover Meta. We don't cover Alphabet, Amazon. I'm sorry, Alphabet, Google. We don't cover Amazon. Like, we don't cover those things. Do we even need to cover SpaceX anymore because they're not in our market?
Because I haven't seen this. I'm an old guy, so the last time I saw a shift like that happen was in about the middle 2000s, about 05, 04, 05. It was when Microsoft was forced from being a growth stock into an income stock.
Right.
Because they weren't growing anymore. They reached such a plateau in their development that they had to start paying dividends. No one's going to buy their stock unless they pay dividends. And so now it became a dividend, income stock. And they're still living off of that.
That's crazy. Can you imagine SpaceX being a dividend stock? Like, that would totally rewrite the whole story. I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't compared them to that. That's
that's when you want to get in. It doesn't matter what the price of the share is. If you're buying it for the income, it doesn't matter.
Forever.
You just let it. You just pay $1,000 a share. Who cares? You're turning the crank.
Right. Huh. That's clever. I hadn't actually considered them being a dividend stock. Warren Buffett. Can you imagine Warren Buffett buying SpaceX? Like, wait a minute. That doesn't even make sense.
Everyone except Kramer.
Right. Yeah.
Right. He still won't get it.
Yeah. Right. All right, let's keep going with SpaceX because we can spend the whole night on that. What do you want to talk about? Like, is there something where
the next thing up? What did they do? It's just, and some of this can be really quick.
Yeah.
Like this one, they want to build businesses on the moon, Mars, and beyond. So it's just, that's what the point of the whole IPO filing. It gives investors a long look at the long-term ambitions as well as what's going on right now. And so the company actually said that future markets could include factories on Mars and asteroid mining. And speaking of that, you saw the pre-launch activities for for Starship tonight, and there's that guy on there saying they're planning a flyby mission of Mars.
Yep.
Sooner, a human crewed flyby mission of Mars sooner than later, and that guy was going to be on it. And so I want to see more info on that because that's the first time I've heard of this.
Yeah, I heard it just the same moments that you did half an hour ago. I've looked for news online about it, and so far, as of the start of the show, there hasn't been anything. So uh, we don't know anything more than what was announced during the pre-launch show.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the point is that this piece is that SpaceX wants investors to think far beyond just rockets and Starlink satellites.
Right.
And from that graph we just saw and all the other stuff they're announcing, it's that's launch is going to be the least of their concerns.
Right, exactly. The rockets are the least of their concerns. Their business concerns. The rockets are the least of them. They didn't put any numbers in for Mars or Moon or beyond. And
Right.
They're putting 22 trillion on the enterprise elements of it. So they kind of, it sounds insane, but they kind of cease to be a space company if this goes the way that they are advertising it.
Yeah. And given that next little piece shows here, in addition to all the numbers that you've seen, they also have, they call eye-popping deadlines.
Yeah,
they're really setting deadlines for themselves.
Yep.
And there's some very aggressive ones. He says, I don't always hit them, but I get there sooner or later. That was in 2020. He said that. So
his quote is, "Punctuality is not my strong suit."
Right. I always come through the end. And so they want, but very quickly he wants Starship's first payload to be launched, paying payload second half of 26. The V3 deployment second half of 26. Acquisition of Cursor, yay or nay, end of October. Starlink mobile V2 launch next year. This is real aggressive stuff.
It is.
And they're closing a deal with EchoStar apparently next November. And they have a bridge loan, I guess they have to pay, but they may put it off a year depending on what's going on. But I just wanted to show that they got an aggressive schedule. They talked about that earlier this year. I mean, our big launch, maybe it'll happen tomorrow, but that's just the first one. And then, but almost the last quarter of the year is going to be almost stacked. They want to do like 6 of them.
Yeah. Well, and they're a big enough company that they can, as long as they have range space.
Yep.
Right.
Interestingly, in all those important deadlines, the one I was looking for wasn't there, which was a demonstration of on-orbit refueling.
Right. Everybody is waiting for that. It's, you either get that and you go to the moon, or you don't get that and you don't go to the moon. Like, that one should be really obvious and it should be front and center, but okay. They're not committing to it, which I thought was a kind of a chicken move. I thought that was kind of a chicken move.
Okay. And there's another one I guess we could just share it with folks. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but there's another Eric Berger piece that I really liked.
Yep.
And it says the U.S. space enterprise is desperately waiting for Starship and raises the question, will it finally deliver? And so, like they say, it's a wild ride. The highs are high and the lows are low. And so, but one could be forgiven these days that SpaceX is at his core a rocket company still. Despite all their mega deals that they've been doing. So one might reasonably ask, what do they do these days, actually? With all the acquisitions they've done, and they've got this IPO. So basically everything they aspire to be in the next quarter of a century, it's all on the line.
Right.
Possibly tomorrow.
Possibly tomorrow.
And it's a whole lot of stuff in here. They had a very difficult year last year. They're hoping for a really great year this year. And so we'll see. We started slowly. We'll hope we'll work up to something really good. They changed their third version of the Raptor rocket engine. Everything, and every one of those engines, 33 engines on that rocket, every one of them is tested.
Yep.
One at a time before they even go in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great material there for people who want to look at it in a little more depth. I mean, we could do a whole show on this whole thing.
It's a good article. It really is. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think of Musk's plan to keep control of 85% of the company by his voting shares?
You know what? I think if he continues doing really good things the way he intends to do them, if he meets a lot of his milestones, I don't think anyone's going to give a shit because because the company is making money, and as
Yep.
Sean says, you get what you pay for,
Yep.
and so because he's been taking like on paper like a 50,000 a year salary. He reminds me of Steve Jobs when he was because he took $1.
It's
From
not
Apple,
about the money,
but his options were insane,
right? Yeah.
which got him a lot of scrutiny at the end. But
yeah, that's fair. All right. Anything more to say about SpaceX?
not right now. Not right
Right.
now. Oh well, as a tangential thing, the next thing up is Anthropic will pay XAI
Mm-hmm.
1.25 billion a month.
Right.
They're buying. They bought a 300 megawatts worth of compute. They basically secured the entire output of the Colossus One data center near Memphis.
Right. Yeah. So, that number by itself changes the number for the entire industry, right? We're always talking about that 630 billion or so, 650 for the industry, and this is a $15 billion deal. It's it's huge. This one deal moves the needle for the whole industry,
and it was included in the S1 filing.
Yeah,
and so that was already in place. When they filed the SO, that's part of it. Part of the numbers. I mean, if you're trying to crunch the numbers,
right,
you got to include that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just sucked up the entire output of that one data center. I hope they're not having any brownouts in that part of Memphis right now, but we'll see. Next up, this seems so small now. This is like, speaking of lunch money.
Well, right. Last week, this was a big deal.
Yeah. Well, 5 years ago, this would have been a big deal.
Right.
A company called Tomorrow.io. They're doing a funding round for Deep Sky, and they just added 35 million to it. It was space and money. I thought I'd mention it just to say they're not the only game in town. There's other people doing stuff.
Oh yeah. These folks have been in the news a few times. They're all about weather, managing weather and weather data. So good for them. Good for them.
I could use it right now. So I could use that right now, and so could you.
Right. Let's move to China for a sec.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got some stuff about China. Two things. Obviously, this is China news. They're hitting a new milestone in their space solar power project. They've been, we don't talk about that much, but they've been working on building a space solar power station capacity. And actually, it's a research team from Zhejiang University in their Shanxi province. And so they call it the Sun Chasing Project. And they developed a ground-based test system for wireless power transmission. And again, the system achieved a wireless power transmission efficiency of 20.8% from direct current to direct current over a distance, 100 meters. Yeah. This is the biggest problem that
I knew you were going to say this.
Space solar power, delivers, and we still have this problem. It's a dirty little secret that no one wants to talk about in these circles, especially our own. The efficiency of you got to put 500 watts in at one end, and maybe you go 100 kilometers and you'll get 5 watts out the other end. So that's still they're still having the same problem that our cohorts in the States are having.
Well, and also
welcome to the party, pal.
Right. Also the 100 meters, like that was island to island in Hawaii, right? So
which was 30 years ago.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool, good job, keep up the good work, keep going this direction. I do think it's interesting, though, that if you look at the link of this is China's national news, and this is their English propaganda channel.
Oh,
So,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
So, consider
So
what it is.
if they're going to admit their faults right there on the English propaganda channel, what does that tell you?
Yep.
Because that little tidbit ties right into what I've been yammering about for years. So I'm still not wrong.
Yep.
That's what they're going to say on there. They're going to say in the next article, Olson, not wrong.
Yeah, that
Bingo.
would be the
him.
headline. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah.
All right. Next one. China
Here's the
likely
big
to
deal.
send a crewed mission around the moon in 2027. The NASA administrator was talking about that just the other day. Yeah,
Yep.
here. Isaacman said here in Washington at the IAA Ascend 2026 space conference, the next time the world tunes in to watch astronauts fly around the moon, which will likely be sometime in 2027, they will be taikonauts, and America will no longer be the exclusive power to send humans into the lunar environment.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will get somebody's attention, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And he did have some comments. I didn't include this link. He had some comments at another event. He basically called just the other day, he called on the space industry to move with urgency and focus. He was at the Ascend 2026 opening plenary with a singular message. NASA is a fundamentally different agency, one that will act with urgency to return to the moon, build a permanent base there, and realize economic potential of operating on the lunar surface. And we're off to a good start. But it's only just begun, and we just need to go straight to it. He didn't pull any punches on his assessment of NASA's loss of focus in the intervening decades. So they grew distracted trying to please everybody.
Yeah.
And so either programs became too big to fail or too costly to really succeed.
Right.
And so he's just laying it on the line. So it's focus, and the private sector development is really going to make a big difference.
I mean, we've been saying it for 25 years, and some's finally listening. So that's
I know
nice.
it. Thank Christ. And we live to see it, dude.
Right.
Okay.
Is like the space race never ended. And Joe Prostrito, I actually saw your name. You had a comment. I couldn't see the comment because they were going by so fast, but I was on the same channel you were for the Starship Scrubs. So good to see you. Glad you're here.
Yep. And Morty's back. Hi, Morty. Glad to see you.
He had a big day yesterday. I'm not going to get into it, but he had a big day yesterday.
Good. Yeah. Vast did something interesting. They're not pivoting, they're expanding. And now in addition to building commercial space stations, now they want to build large high-powered satellites. So they're diversifying, I guess.
This is the subtle way of saying, hey, we want to do data centers in space like everybody else does.
Right. And so basically it's like what we keep talking about. There's this huge new markets opening up. Money is pouring in. How can we tap into some of that?
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying that for weeks. And so here's Vast going, yeah, I hear you. I hear you guys. We're doing it. Stay tuned.
Yeah. I mean, they're literally saying Hote, who's their president or CEO, I forget, was chief executive officer, added that Vast also plans to offer an NVIDIA Space One module to support orbital data center. Like they're like, hey, we can do this. Everybody can do it. Let's just get into it and do it. So if you've got anything that can go to space, you should be advertising that you can be a data center. Joe Luttrell, for a satellite that we've got that you're building for us, could you just put an NVIDIA chip on it, even if you just like scrape the logo off of something and just tape it on so we can say that we've got data centers in space? Could you just please do that for me? Thanks.
Well, here's what I got over here. I've got an old Lenovo laptop going back years. I'm running it outgrew Windows 8, so I put Linux on it.
Right.
I put Ubuntu on it. Maybe we could launch that on a piggyback with one of these outfits, and I could say we put a data center in space.
Right. I
Well,
got
it still runs.
Hard drive, and comms. That's all you need right now.
That's all you need.
Yep. All right, let's keep going.
Okay.
So good job for Vast.
We got so good for Vast. Now Russia. This is my little humorous moment of the day. We're done. Russia wants to advertise on their rockets and spacecraft, and apparently that idea is catching on. But it's also a kind of an assessment going, well, maybe their figures probably aren't great for their industry right now, so they're trying to boost it a little bit.
Right.
But that's so funny. Advertising in space.
We have been talking about this for 25 years. We've been saying, dress these things up like NASCARs and launch the damn things.
Oh, well, all those images that came out back then, early 2000s, they're always showing the shuttle with a bunch of stickers all over it. Yeah. That was that idea had been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I suggested something like that back when I was writing about the Colony Fund initiative back in '99. So I had pictures like that, on the website and in the written materials. So that idea's been around for a while.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Hey, Doug, good to see you. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, just in time, Doug. Just in time. Okay. So let us move on. Let me get to my script here. I got things that we're going to talk about today. Oh, God. Boy, do we have a guest for you. Very interesting guy. Our guest tonight is Paul S. Mamakos. I think it's how it's pronounced. He's the founder and CEO of Space Ocean Corp. He's a 20-year plus entrepreneur with a focus on orbital logistics, water transport systems, on-orbit servicing, and building the logistics and resource infrastructure for a permanent human presence in the high frontier. So, Paul, welcome.
Good to meet you again tonight.
Hey. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. Absolutely. Here's what we usually do. This I think it's your first time on our show. If you can, go ahead and let's just do not such a much a quick intro. Just give you a little bit of your background, of your origin story. How did you get to this place you now find yourself in life?
Yeah, I've always been a curious person. And when I was in high school, I would go to the library at school and look through the different NASA books, just like to look at the different pictures and the concepts. So all from when I was a kid, I liked looking for meteorites or stuff in the woods. I'm at a point now where I've been in business for over 20 years, and I know how to lead a team or at least gather a team. And this is exciting stuff I always liked to do when I was a kid, just exploring and learning and being with people.
Good. Very fun. You do a lot. I mean, I want to tell us what you guys are doing right now. You started the Space Ocean Corp. How long has that been around? It's been the whole 20 years or something?
The main team has been here for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay. All right.
I started the company 5 years ago, but the main team, we're 50 people. So.
Okay. Because there's all sorts of great things here, and we could talk about any one of them for the whole show. And so, in fact, when you gave us a snapshot and suggested conversation topics, of the 5 of them, I think the first one we can kind of go, okay, we have a very sophisticated audience. They get that part. And probably star-based country is probably not a huge thing we need to talk about right now. But however, I think the idea of water as the oil of the space economy, I think that's huge, because you're talking about hard logistics of trying to build a cislunar economy. So that's what I want to delve into tonight. The water thing, the engineering reality versus the theater, and designing that entire cislunar supply chain from scratch. Let's start with the water.
Yeah, so infrastructure, there's a lot of opportunity to do stuff in space. I think in the past, it was kind of a concern about over-commercializing or industrializing space. So now we're at the point where SpaceX is actually going up there, opening up lowering the fees to launch, and some other companies as well, launch companies. if we're going to make concrete or cement, or if we're going to have life support, we're going to need oxygen, and we're going to need, if we want to stay clean or do a bunch of different stuff in space, grow food, we're going to need water. So we're developing like the different types of spacecraft that could transport fluid. I know Orbit Fab has done some of that as well. They're not exactly focusing on water as their thing, but they've done a lot with water too. So we're doing something similar. We're just focused on water, and anywhere there's an ocean, we want to eventually, that's our longer term goal, to get to some of those off planet places where there's an ocean out there. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, since we're starting about with the cislunar economy, and we're all focused on going to the lunar South Pole, there's apparently, all sorts of ice. Is there enough water locked up there to actually get something started?
Apparently, if they can scoop up the regolith and extract the water, maybe heat it up or something like that. So, and there's apparently a lot of oxygen in some of that. We're not focused on doing that part of the mining or collecting of the water,
Right.
but we would like to.
Totally different.
We would pick it up from anybody like that, or even an Interloon if they had helium-3. We would transport that fluid, any type of fluid, not just water, but we're looking to be that logistics in like a FedEx or something like that, UPS in space.
Okay. So other than that, then, so where's the water coming from? Why do you want to move water in the first place?
Right. I think we'll probably, there's a good chance we'll be the first company to get water from off of Earth, from.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're looking not just like samples, we're looking at like 30,000 liters of water. So the types of spacecraft we're designing are big, or just many of a certain volume that could work too.
Okay. So that's what that's why I'm driving at. I'm trying to figure out, you're talking about water a lot, but you're not bringing it up from Earth. You are building things that will go to moons of Jupiter or Saturn and getting it from there and then shipping it back like giant tankers.
Colonists on the moon, or even the different space stations, and even Mars. Initially, they're not going to be able to have any water right when they get there. I don't know how long their water will last when they initially get there. So we'll be there to provide it to them. We can deliver it to orbit, or maybe even take it down to the surface with SpaceX help or somebody else.
Wow.
Now, they can cycle water, but if it's only 95% or 98%, that 2% will run out. So they're going to need water. And the recycling equipment's pretty expensive too. It's like $20 to $50 million, and then it needs maintenance. So,
what's your first source? Your first source
Earth.
Of water. Where's the first place you're going to? What's your time frame? You said you're designing. I've talked to your Sean. We have also our Sean. I've talked to your Sean. What's your first target, and what's your timeline, and how big is your tanker?
Yeah. Initially, of course, we're going to service low Earth orbit and out to cislunar, so that'll come from the Earth. But we want to go to Enceladus. So we're focused on oceans. Anywhere there's an ocean, that's kind of our company goal. So Enceladus is the moon we're looking at. It's a moon of Saturn. It's got a 20-mile deep ocean. And very thick ice. So we want to take a lot of video too and share that with people on the planet as well. So.
I have said a lot of times, I believe it's got all the building blocks for life. So I hope you find porpoise and dolphins down there, because I would be very happy about that. But I do. I think that's a great target. And tell us about your engineering. Like, what's the difference of trying to harvest it from the moon? So Dr. Plod is on the screen here. He's talking about there's 600 million tons of ice on the moon. They're going to have to do it the hard way. They're going to have to dig into the super cold night of the moon, dig in, and then process that way. So that's one path. You have a completely different path. So what are you doing that's different? And you're gonna get 30. What'd you say? 30 tons?
30,000. Yeah, 30,000 liters.
Gallons? Liters? Okay, 30,000 liters. So very different process than the folks that are trying to do ISRU on the moon. So what are you doing?
Well, they're gonna need nuclear as well. It gets really dark, and maybe they can microwave the ice from the edge of the crater, and they can melt it and collect it and recondense it on the moon. So that's cool. I'm just excited about oceans, and maybe we'll we're looking to do some stuff to the moon as a payload to demonstrate some of our stuff, but we're kind of looking for oceans. We're just everybody's likes their own thing and their purpose for going to a certain business, something you want to work at for 20 years or even plus. So
yeah. So
now, is that water? Are you gonna purify it in any way before you ship it? Are you going through some process? Because we don't know what's in that water by the time you get there, and it could need a lot of have a lot of stuff filtered out of it before you can really ship it to somebody.
Right. And we see ice on all these different locations. We don't know what kind of water it is. So that's kind of a sketchy, what is that solid frozen thing? We did we did a collaboration with Texas A&M with some of their capstone students for a silver biocide. So we're looking to have that according to the NASA SWEGs. They have different standards for water for space. So we're looking to make it potable water. So. But the water or the ocean on Enceladus is it's salty. It's a lot like Earth's water. It has also deuterium in it, apparently. So we'll see how it all turns out. But
deuterium, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. So you're just gonna land there on the icy crust, drop a straw down, and pull it up, suck it up.
Yeah, there's different ways we could do it. We've looked at some of the different ways to do it. I'd have to get in that spot. I have to think about that part of the thing. We've looked at many things in that thing.
Okay.
Yeah. There are apparently boulders on the surface of ice, so you could potentially just go and sound the boulder. Yeah.
Okay.
There's said to be snow on the surface, snow in some of the research stuff. So, but Cassini and some of the other spacecraft have gone around past Enceladus, spent a lot of time there, so they got a lot of data. If we could, it'd be great if we could do an initial strip down satellite and go there just to see if we could land on the surface or do some more, just kind of demonstrate we can do that initial part before spending $400 million on a big spacecraft and doing it all at once.
Now, Enceladus does a lot of geysers. They're doing the geysers all the time. Now, has it been determined whether those geysers just come out all over the place at random, or they come out specific places all the time in a timed way, which would make life a lot easier for you if they did?
Right. One of the thoughts is, we could land on the surface and maybe we can drill down. We've talked to some of the people at the Mars Society. There are some people with drills, so we could do it that kind of way. There's apparently no atmosphere on the surface there, or very small Pascal pressure on the surface. So, but if there were geysers and if they were steady, we could just have a half dome point at the surface as the satellite goes around 1,000 times a year, and we just let it collect on the surface there and then close that up and melt it. So we could have a satellite dish kind of pointing at the surface there, and that could be 100 years or something like that. Very passive collection. So
I could see an incredible kind of a supply chain there, just like we do with oil tankers now. You got this water tanker, go to the latest, and you're picking up a bunch of stuff and sending it off, and then a few days later another one shows up. I mean, you just keep doing this. You have a string of them going all sorts of places.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got a couple questions popping into the chat here. Dr. Plata is asking about near-term ROI. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. If we look at the near-term stuff, to deliver water to the space stations, about $23,300 per liter currently. And that's before the subsidies from the government every year, $100 million or so on top of that, $23,000 per liter. So Johnson Space Center is helping some of that. And there's some opportunities for delivering to other space stations that would make that possible, delivered to the near-term destinations for water. So we're open to doing some of those pre-orders if you want for water. It can be a phase kind of thing. But so that could be anywhere from $25 million per 1,000 liters up to $45 million per 1,000. So that's we're looking at the price point starting at around $45,000 per liter. That's without any government subsidies. So it could be pretty lucrative. You got to factor in that a satellite costs a certain amount of money, and then there's a lot of insurance, and even the launch cost is about $1.6 million. So there are different factors, and assuming the spacecraft makes it and doesn't blow up or anything, you can make some money doing it. Out to Enceladus, It's about a 6-year journey with today's propulsion. So there's a bunch of there are risks, and we've been moving that forward. We have 30 engineers on the team, but and we do have some partnerships or collaborations with people outside the company. We got a bunch of partners as well. So there's a lot of PhDs and different expert, knowledgeable people we can draw on. A lot of people want to go to Enceladus. It takes a while to get there, and the European Space Agency wants to go there as well. So, but it has to. You have to send the spacecraft out that way if you want to go there. You can't just keep talking about it. So, it is on the decadal survey. The Enceladus is kind of at the top of their list, maybe number 2. So we want to go there. We want to help other people go there. So factoring in the spacecraft's going to be at least $400 million, and then we would like to collect a whole bunch of that water. So how valuable is that? Elon has said that maybe $100 million per gallon, the value of water on Mars, today's price. In the past, he said $1 billion per gallon. So the price of water at those far away destinations, the sample return from Mars has been valued at $10 billion for like a 40 liter amount of soil from Mars. $10 billion for 40 liters of volume. And then they even had like an $11 billion value for that. So if we look at all that, we're looking at maybe $26.4 million per liter is what we would start at the price from Enceladus.
That is pretty insane.
Well, just running the math that you just described, 45,000 per liter, just 45,000 per liter. If you can pull off 30,000 liters, that's $1.35 trillion. Yeah. So that's pretty good. Like that you can build a hell of a spacecraft on $1.3 trillion. Sorry, 1.3. We keep going back and forth with B's and T's today because of SpaceX. $1.35 billion.
That's a little more.
You can still build a hell of a spacecraft off of that. So even if you are getting those other larger numbers, even that base number to ISS is still a good number. So that's pretty interesting.
I'm still hoping there's something under the Martian soil somewhere that's like the size of a Great Lake. And I think when we start building a Mars settlement, I'm hoping they'll send some Oklahoma roughnecks out over there and start doing, guys who are used to drilling oil, and maybe they'll drill for water, and maybe they'll find something that would change the dynamics insanely.
Yeah. I am
skeptical. It would make Mars a go-to place, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It would. I am skeptical of that answer, by the way. So, all right. So you got a couple dozen folks working for y'all. What are your like day-to-day contracts like? Do you have all those people working on this one task? And if so, where's your capital source?
Yeah, our team is any company could do this. So I've had a couple other businesses in the past, and I exited one. So I had some success creating something and exiting after it. And I've had a lot of time to think about good ways to do stuff. But if anyone wants to start their own business, you can just go down, register at the State Corporation Commission. You can do it online. Sure. It's like $275 or whatever it is in your state or whatever. And then you can, if you have shares, if you make a corporation, you can give people that are excited about what you're doing shares to participate. So some people are like, I don't have enough money to pay people. But what I did at Space Ocean was they're earning shares. That's kind of their income, restricted share units. And it's a model that I think Tesla did something similar. They had RSUs, equity incentive program. So that's what we have at Space Ocean. And so we're looking at like a variety of spacecraft. We got the low Earth orbit ones. We have the one that would maybe go out to cislunar. Cislunar is going to be needing more radiation and other type of stuff on it. And then we're designing one that could be a tug for some of the smaller spacecraft. And then we're designing one with nuclear. We have a partnership with Space Nukes, and they have a nuclear reactor, which like a certain kilowatt rating, and they have other varieties that they're working on as well. So we're looking to go to like Enceladus. It's beyond the asteroid belt. So when you get past the asteroid belt, beyond Mars, the sunlight is a lot less. So you're looking at maybe 1% of the light from the sun. So solar panels can't really work. So you need nuclear, or you need some other type of energy. So our partnership with Space Nukes is to develop that capability for when we actually succeed in the low Earth orbit out to cislunar area, we can immediately go out to and sell it as ASAP. But for the space industry, you can't start working on something when you're ready to work on it. You got to work on it many years ahead, because even the time to buy the components takes a lot of time. So you got to start working on it today if you want to do it 5-10 years from now. So we have several spacecraft we're working on at the same time. That's what we have, different teams working on the different craft, and some of the people work on a few of the different craft at the same time, in that specific area they're in. So.
Got it.
Okay. Can we shift gears just a little bit?
Yeah.
Because you do a lot of other things as well, and you've done a lot of analysis about the engineering things. I'd like to talk just a little bit about something you said is something that you call it engineering reality versus TRL theater. And it's basically, what does technology readiness really look like? And we're startups, and this is really important to our crew, startups paper over the hard problems and what investors should actually ask when evaluating technical claims. What do you think?
Do you have a working prototype, or have you been to space before, or do you have anything in space that you can say that's mine? And so we're working on that thing where a lot of people in our company have done stuff with other space companies, and they have stuff in space, and they landed on the moon or whatever. We have a lot of very experienced people on the team, 20 to 40 years, experience, and they're actively in other programs as well as being at Space Ocean. But as a company, we want to get that check mark and that experience as a team where we've done something together, and it's up there in space right now. And then that will help us when we're trying to get an order from another company, or open a certain type of partnership, or even apply for a phase 3 SBIR or something like that, or get investment. An investor wants to see, what have you done in space? So that's what we're working.
Right. Well, where do space startups paper over the hard problems, in your view? What have you seen that you mentioned that?
Some people have very small teams, and even working with people, here's a good example. We've had a bunch of military people on the team, and I don't want to say anything about those types of people. We have some are great, and some are very structured in a certain way. So depending on what you're doing, the type of people on your team it'll matter. And then who do you want to hang out with? So certain people want something done in a certain way, and I've fired a whole bunch of people. We've had over 300 people cycle through. We're in the 400s now, so as a team. So,
wow, we could do an entire show on that. I've had more than 50 interns at LiftPo over the last almost 25 years. Not quite 25 years, and that's complicated. I don't think. I've probably had about 100 staff across all of the incarnations. That's complicated, right? That's after nearly 25 years of total time, multiple incarnations of this company. So it's hard to do that. Let's go back to that TRL theater, though. Why do you call it that? By the way, I really enjoyed that language. I thought that was very accurate. So why do you call it that?
It's impressive. You can say I'm your TRL 5 or whatever. TRL 9 is the ultimate, and that's where you want to get to. You're in space. You've done stuff. It's qualified, and there's a heritage. So there's a history. So. It means a lot, but even something that is qualified, we just saw SpaceX try and launch, and they've been to space a whole bunch of times, and they had to postpone it till tomorrow, maybe. So,
hopefully tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Veronica asked if you've done any development or analysis here on the Earth, Arctic or Antarctic. I actually don't think those are the easy ones. I think it's actually if you go to Mount Washington out in Vermont, Northeast, somewhere in the Northeast. I think it's Vermont, Connecticut, maybe. Have you done any testing of your systems, live in super harsh environments, super cold environments?
Not yet. We want to. It costs about $50,000 to go to Antarctica, so there's a cost.
Yeah.
There's a cost. Yeah, we were looking at Alaska like a month ago. But we're looking at our options, and when it's the right time to take the equipment out that way, we will for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason I always talk about Mount Washington, and so far as I know, no space company has gone to Mount Washington, but it's got some of the coldest temperatures in the world, and it's a hell of a lot easier to get to than the Arctic. So it's a hell of a lot easier than the Andes or the Himalayas. So yeah, it's pretty rough up there in the New England area. So and it's a lot less expensive. We are going to do our testing at Mount Washington. So I'm just going to give you that as a freebie if you need it.
I appreciate it. I'll look into that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that really excited me was reading your material is that you mentioned the word containerization, and that is a big topic for us. We just love it. And we kind of broke that on our show about a year ago. But the thing is, you talk about Peril, you have your own ideas, and I love to hear them. Give us a kind of a systems level walkthrough of orbital logistics. How does fluid transfer really work in microgravity? What will the short-term economics be of say satellite servicing, and what that orbital depot network could look like, say, in 15 years?
Cool. Containerization is the idea that in shipping, when they had the standardized sizing and everything else, then they could the different ports could easily offload and unload the different stuff, and the ships could have a spot for their stuff. So in space, we're looking at different ways to standardize even the connectors. Rafty, OrbitFab is the Rafty, and Duralock is a different type of connector. So different. When you, if you're in Europe, you have a certain type of plug for your electronics. You plug the thing into the wall. When you come to these, it's different. So you got to get a adapter. So in space, the different space satellites and spacecraft, they don't have a standardized way yet. It's a new industry. The SpaceWorks and the AFRL, all these different funders for the spacecraft haven't decided to have a certain standardized way for these things to connect in space. So it's a vacuum out there, or very close to it. Some of the space stations have like a back porch you can drop stuff off on. If you have like a you can just use an arm, and you can deliver something. It can grab your spacecraft and then it can offload that way. But for a larger volume of fluid and stuff like that, it'd be good to have some type of connector. But that has to be put on these spacecraft before they get launched, and it takes at least a year probably to integrate that. So we're looking to be part of that and help that shape that decision. Of course, OrbitFab has gone quite a ways, but and there's a possibility they could change the volume or the size of their connector. So that's a possibility. But there are different fluids. Hydrazine, you don't want hydrazine connector being interchanged with a water connector. So you can't use the same connector for everything. There's a large need for water in space from the military as well as the commercial sector. If people want to go up for a vacation for 2 weeks on a VAST or Starlab Space or one of the other Orbital Reef or one of the different space stations or tourist places, they're going to probably want some water. If for the price of water, if you were on the moon, water would be so expensive that could you even have a bathtub on the moon? How expensive would that be? So we're looking to enable that and work with all the different space companies as much as we can, even internationally, to be part of that and make it more real for everybody.
Okay. Just interesting. Just one more thing. I know because we've all talked about Elon tonight. One of his goals with Starship Block 3 this year is to actually do a demo of on-orbit refueling. What challenges do you think he faces?
Well, today they revealed the two new spots on the Starship where that they can interface and connect the two different starships. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They want to have like 1,000 starships up there, just to refuel one of them to go to Mars. I don't know if that's still current, but they were looking at, and maybe as they increase the size of the starship, then they need less of them to do the one trip to Mars. And maybe as we get nuclear propulsion, we wouldn't need to do, but there's going to maybe need a lot of, when you have a large ship go out of a port, there's a lot of like a tugboat, and there's different things that interface with that big ship. Probably going to need something like that with SpaceX and all the other space partners for that starship to leave. Maybe we can help out with some of that fluid logistics.
Okay, but are there any red flags in terms of just doing the fuel transfer? You're doing this in microgravity. What's the challenge?
Well, when we look at the Starship, there's a lot of vapor or other stuff, a constant trickle leaving. So when this cryogenic fluid heats up, it vaporizes, or they may need to recondense it or something. So up there in space around the Earth, and as you get further away from Earth, it becomes a bigger problem. But at least around the Earth, it'll boil off. So they got to keep sending up more fluid.
Okay.
I can imagine a world where, and we only have 3 minutes left, so we got to switch over to our future stuff. But I can imagine a world where L1 becomes the ultimate refueling station, that everybody just goes there, does their business, pushes their fluids wherever, transacts their transactions, and then moves on to their next destination. So let's focus on. So we always end the program. We only have 3 minutes here, so we always end the program with what does the next 5 years look like, and what does the next 25 years look like?
Next 5 years for Space Ocean or for everybody?
Anybody. Answer it how you like.
Lots of tourists up there in space, people on the moon, possibly. I would imagine that happening. People on Mars, and maybe other places too. Maybe scuba divers under the ice on Enceladus. That would be freaking awesome.
I said divers, you said scuba. I dolphin.
It depends on the pressure. Having been a scuba diver, I kind of know how that works. So, yeah.
What does 25 years look like? Or was that the 25-year answer?
That was maybe the 10-year. 25 years, maybe 5 different locations with humans, civilizations out there in space, and possibly even outside the solar system. Probably that'd be
wow.
Well, that's huge.
That's the first time we've heard that one. Actually, I love that.
I know some guys working on a warp drive, but I don't think they're going to have their first test until 2050 at least.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah,
I love that. Five places. So Earth, Moon, Mars, an asteroid, Enceladus. Is that what you're thinking?
Sure. Oh, you mean for those civilizations?
Yeah, people.
Maybe Moon. Maybe one of the other planets.
All right. So which 5? Neptune. Earth, Moon, Mars. That's easy. Where are the other 2 sites?
Neptune, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know where else. We'll have to
see. All right.
It'll be anybody's guess by then, and I'm sure
I would say asteroids, and I think you could convince me of Venus. Maybe you could convince me of Venus. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. Yeah. Wherever the water is. So Sean, our producer, is like, wherever the water is, that's where we're going to have people. So that's
it. That's exactly right.
That's the answer.
Paul S. Mamakos, founder and CEO of Space Ocean Corp. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a very, very delightful conversation, very informative. I hope we'll have you back again sometime.
You're welcome, and look forward to seeing what you guys continue to do. It's good stuff. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. See you soon. Okay, Michael, let's see here. Well, who is coming up? Okay. Monday, our guest.
I wasn't even sure we were having a guest on Monday. Do we have a guest?
Now, we have a guest on Monday. We may not have one next Thursday, which means we might just catch up on all the news items we've been missing because they keep stacking up, But there's been so much news lately. But on Monday, our guest will be Dr. Annette Toivonen. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Oh.
And she's the author of a book called Sustainable Space Tourism.
Got it.
And she's going to be with us on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
I've got an interview with her tomorrow morning. I barely know.
Very cool.
So
very cool.
I'll know more. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Give her my best, and we'll see her on Thursday. And on that, for Michael Lane and Sean Key, I remain Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.